The 2026 World Cup brings together the best national teams in the world, or was supposed to, because at the same time there are 48 teams, there are a lot of strong ones that were left out. So according to the current FIFA ranking, what are the 10 best countries that didn't qualify? Let's find out. Starting with the country that has been to the World Cup 8 times, more than any other country in its continent. And they came to the qualifiers with a really good squad. Goalkeeper Onana, Mbeumo from Man United, and Gisa from Napoli, a team valued at 200 million euros. And Cameroon had a seemingly easy group, so much so that they stayed unbeaten in the first 7 out of 10 matches. But at the same time, Cape Verde were right behind them, until in match day 8, Cameroon lost 1-0. Now their only chance was through the playoffs, but in a playoff match against DR Congo, Cameroon conceded a goal at 90+1. So by 1-0, they were eliminated. Even so, Cameroon is still one of the best teams in Africa, sitting 45th place in the ranking. But this is nothing compared to other teams that missed the World Cup. Let's keep climbing until we reach FIFA's top 20. Now the next country has already been a World Cup runner-up. In 1954, they almost won the title, and now with players like Szoboszlai and Kerkez from Liverpool, Orban from Leipzig, etc., they had everything to come back to the tournament. So fast forward to the final match day of the qualifiers, the group looked like this. Portugal already qualified, Hungary with 8 points and Ireland with 7. And the last match, Hungary versus Ireland. So the match kicked off and just 3 minutes in, Hungary scored the opener, but Ireland quickly equalized. Then before halftime, Hungary scored again, and in the 80th minute, Ireland made it 2-2. Still, Szoboszlai's team was heading to the playoffs. Then it reached the 90th minute, and after 5 minutes of added time, the referee allowed Ireland to attack one last time.
One last throw of the dice. It's all on this from Queeveen Kelleher. Scales is up after it. Scales wins the header. There's a chance! Yeah! Oh, there's the goal!
With that, Hungary dropped in the group and was eliminated. Even so, they are currently 42nd place in the ranking. Now continuing, we get to a national team that played in the 2018 and 2022 World Cups. With players like Pavlovic from Milan, Vlahovic from Juventus, Milinkovic-Savic and others, they had everything to have a third qualification in a row. In their group there was England, so the goal was to finish second. But another country that was also in the race was Albania, and when they faced Serbia, surprisingly, Albania won. Serbia dropped to 3rd place, and now their only chance to get back into the playoff was to recover those lost points by beating England. So they went to Wembley with that mission, but still in the first half England scored first, and in the second half they sealed the deal. With that, Serbia was eliminated from the World Cup. At least they are still ahead of Hungary in the rankings, sitting in 39th place. But that's nothing yet, the best teams in this video are in the top 20. Now, if Serbia was eliminated early in the qualifiers, the next country fought until the very end. Since 2016, when they reached the semi-finals of the Euros, this country had been on a huge rise. So much so that they qualified for the 2022 World Cup and had everything to make it again for 2026. Especially because in their qualifying group, the only real competitor was Belgium, who weren't even at their peak anymore. So when they faced Belgium in match day 3, Wales was drawing the game 3-3. They were putting up a fight. But in the final minutes, the Belgian fullback crossed and the defense didn't spot De Bruyne behind them, so Belgium scored again. Final score 4-3. But Wales still had one chance to qualify directly if they beat Belgium in the away match. But after a good start, the defense collapsed, losing by 4-2. Now they could only qualify through the playoffs, and the opponent was Bosnia. Wales was the favorite, so much that they scored the opener, but at the very end, Bosnia equalized and it went to penalties, where Johnson from Wales missed his shot and the Bosnian keeper saved the next one. With that, Wales was eliminated, and now they're sitting 37th in the rankings. Just so you understand, they are ahead of Sweden, Czech Republic and several other teams. But there are 6 countries even better than them, and the next country had everything to qualify, but didn't for one reason: they are banned. It was a team on the rise. They even hosted the World Cup and almost reached the semi-finals. But back when they were still in the qualifiers for the 2022 World Cup, Russia invaded Ukraine. So FIFA decided to ban them from all competitions, and since the conflict still hasn't been resolved, they are still banned. But even playing only friendlies, they are still 36th in the rankings. Next is a country that played in 9 World Cups and even qualified for both 2018 and 2022. So led by Robert Lewandowski, they had everything to qualify again. But to go there directly, they needed to finish first in the group with the Netherlands. So they started well, beating Lithuania, then Malta, everything was going smoothly. Until against Finland, Poland was defeated. That ruined their campaign, because even though they didn't lose to the Netherlands, that defeat meant Poland had no chance of finishing first. Now their only path was the playoffs. There they defeated Albania and only needed to beat Sweden to qualify. Sweden was playing at home, but Poland managed to reach halftime level at 2-2, and they even started pushing hard to turn it around. But in the 88th minute,
that's the chance for Svensson. Bergvall! And then Zanelli off the post. Gyökeres scores!
3-2, and Poland was eliminated. With that, Lewandowski said goodbye to the World Cup. It was a solid campaign, so now they are ranked 35th place. But Sweden made another victim in the qualifiers. As an independent country, this national team has only played one World Cup, but in that single appearance, they reached the quarterfinals. So Ukraine's dream was to qualify again, and they had a squad for it, with players like Zabarny from PSG valued at 45 million euros, plus Zinchenko, Sudakov and others. Then Ukraine was joining the group with Iceland, Azerbaijan and France, where they needed to finish first to qualify directly, but lost both matches to France. At least they moved on to the playoffs, where they just had to eliminate two teams. The first one, Sweden. It was Ukraine's chance to prove themselves, but in just 5 minutes...
Alanga, that's a good ball. Nigren! And Gyökeres is there!
Gyökeres was unstoppable, scoring the second and third goals. Ukraine managed to get one back late on, but the match ended 3-1. Even so, they are still ahead of several European teams in the rankings, sitting in 32nd place. But there are still 3 even better ranked teams, and the next one qualified for the last 4 tournaments in a row, with Osimhen valued at 75 million, Lookman from Atletico Madrid, Iwobi from Fulham and many other top-level players. They weren't even worried about the qualifiers, especially since they were drawn into a seemingly easy group with South Africa, Benin, Lesotho. Nigeria were clearly the strongest, but things didn't go as expected. First game, a draw, second, another draw, third, another one, and in the fourth match, they lost to Benin, a team ranked 97th in the rankings. It was a disaster. So when they managed to recover, the damage was already done. With 17 points, they finished behind South Africa. Now their only path was through the playoffs, and their 2 opponents were Gabon and Congo. So they beat Gabon, and when they faced Congo, Nigeria took the lead. But still in the first half, Congo equalized. Both teams pushed as hard as they could, but no one scored again, so the match went to penalties, where Nigeria missed one and had 2 shots saved by the keeper. Congo won on penalties, and for the first time since 2006, Nigeria was out of the World Cup. Even so, they are still one of the best teams in Africa, currently in 26th in the rankings. Just so you understand, they are even ahead of Norway. But if Nigeria is strong, the next country has even won an UEFA Euro and was chasing its 7th World Cup appearance. With experienced players like Schmeichel and Eriksen, along with young talents like Højlund, Isaacs and Hilmand, they had a squad worth nearly 400 million. And to qualify, they only needed to finish first in the group with Scotland, Greece and Belarus. It looked easy. But in the first match, they drew with Scotland. Then came big results, 3-0 and 3-1 wins over Greece and a 6-0 win against Belarus. However, when the final match day arrived, they were just 1 point ahead of Scotland, and the final clash was against them. Denmark only needed a draw to qualify, but in just 3 minutes...
Again, it is Ganondorf with the tricks and McTominay!
Scotland took the lead, until in the second half Denmark equalized. But Scotland scored again, and in the 81st minute they equalized once more. Denmark were heading to the World Cup, until at 90+2...
Back in it comes. Ferguson's header given away, but it breaks to Tierney!
And to make it even worse, Scotland scored another from midfield. Now Denmark had to go to the playoffs. First opponent, North Macedonia, where Denmark crushed them 4-0. Now they only needed to beat the Czech Republic. But just 3 minutes into the game, the Czechs scored. Until the 72nd minute, Denmark equalized, it went to extra time and both teams scored again. By 2-2, it went to penalties. But then Højlund missed, another Danish attacker had his shot saved, and Denmark's number 7 missed as well. With that, Denmark was eliminated, being the second best team left out of the tournament, ranked 20th in the world. And now we reach the best team that will not be at the World Cup, a team that had already failed to qualify in 2018 and 2022, so they couldn't let it happen again. Especially with so many stars, Sandro Tonali valued at 80 million, Bastoni, Barella, Donnarumma, officially the best keeper in the world. It was a squad valued at over 800 million. And in their qualifying group, the only real competitor was Norway, but Italy hadn't lost to them in over 20 years. Until the first match, a 3-0 defeat. Now Italy needed Norway to slip up, but instead Norway crushed everyone, including Italy, by 4-1. Now their only chance was through the playoffs, but the path looked easy. They beat Northern Ireland and now just needed a win against Bosnia. So in the 15th minute, Moise Kean scored. But in the 79th minute, Bosnia crossed the ball, chaos in the box, and goal, 1-1. It was their worst nightmare and the match went to penalties. Italy still had the officially best keeper in the world, and he had a cheat sheet showing where each Bosnian player would shoot. But a Bosnian ball boy invaded the pitch and stole that from him. So he couldn't save a single one and Italy missed 2 of their own. On penalties, the 4-time champions were eliminated. A team that will truly be missed, especially considering they are currently in 12th place in the ranking. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you're gonna like this one too. Thanks for watching and bye!